Welcome back to the C Suite. I'm Danielle Jaworski. If you've been looking at potentially doing something different in your career, or you're feeling compelled that something needs to change, how do you trust what's going to happen when you don't know what the other side is going to look or feel like? In this segment, we're going to be talking about the pathway to rediscovering and trusting your intuition. Here to have this conversation with us is Francine Houston. She is an intuitive coach, and we're going to be learning a lot more about how to learn how to trust ourselves in order to make decisions that feel good. Welcome, Francine, to the show.
Hi, Danielle. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So, first, we're going to talk about intuition and really, because this is something that maybe people have heard about, but they're not quite sure what exactly it is. Can you share a little bit more about what is intuition?
For me, intuition is that innate knowing that you have when something feels right or doesn't feel right. It's that gut. For some people, it's the hairs on the back of their neck. For other people, it's that kind of wiggly feeling in their belly. For other people, they get like shivers up their back or goose flesh on their arms when it's right or when it's wrong. I think everybody has it. I know everybody has it. For a lot of us, it's been trained out of us. We've been told to discount or ignore because it's not polite society. You know, the kid who says, "I don't want to hug Aunt Bessie." You have to hug Aunt Bessie because that will make Aunt Bessie feel bad. Well, no, that kid is telling you that that's not okay. But that gets overridden over time, and we end up ignoring those feelings. And it's as adults, it's really important that we reconnect to that. Hopefully, we teach our kids never to discount that because that's what keeps us and them safe in the world.
My next question was really around trust. So why don't we trust our intuition?
I think a lot of it is because it's been trained out of us. We've been told that feeling that we have, oh, it's just, it's rude. It's not real. It's not important. It's you're over exaggerating. You're whatever those messages are that we received as children and have been reinforced with us over time. I really believe that that is what interrupts that innate trust that we have in ourselves. And it's important. I really believe it's important as kids are growing up that they not have that interrupted because without that, they're not as safe in the world. And as adults, we definitely don't feel like we have a voice or that we have an accurate read on a situation if we don't reconnect to that gut, that internal feeling of balance.
And as an adult, or especially when we're looking at careers and making career decisions, what are some benefits that can happen when we learn how to trust that intuition?
The biggest thing I think is that we end up living much more authentic, much more successful, and much more balanced lives. When people are really following their own, even if it looks crazy to the outside world, that's usually where the breakthroughs are happening. And that's usually where the best possible life is that you're going to create for yourself. What looks good on paper is great, but 90% of the time, 99% of the time, it's not necessarily what's actually going to be beneficial for your life and for your choices.
And for someone who's interested or they're feeling compelled to start trusting their intuition a little bit more, what are some steps or what is the path that they can take to learning how to trust their intuition?
I think there's a twofold um, exercise that you can do. One of them is your 5 big breaths. And everyone says, take a big breath. Well, okay, but that doesn't really do enough. One big breath, kind of go, okay, a lot of people rush through that one. The next one kind of gets you starting to relax and starting to calm down, and your body starts to disengage a little bit from the emotional content of whatever you're sitting in. By 3, you're getting there. Your body's starting to relax, your breathing's changing. By the time you hit 5, your brain is quiet, your intuition has started to kick in, and then you're available to be able to actually hear what is going to meet your actual needs, as opposed to just being interrupted by the other stuff. Another thing is to go on a great adventure. And I do this once a month, typically. And basically, it's just choosing an hour, half a day or a day, to just follow wherever it is you're going to go. You don't plan anything. You don't plan a destination. You don't plan an end place. You plan sort of what you're going to need as far as, make sure you have something to drink, make sure you have something to write with, make sure you're dressed for the weather, and then just go. You get to the front door, you say, okay, am I going to go for a ride? Am I going to take a bike? Am I going to go for a walk? And at each step, take those 5 deep breaths, because that's when your intuition is going to kick in. As you go through that, observe. Don't judge, just observe. And when you get to the place where you sit there and go, okay, I have arrived, just wait. Record your observations, whether it's digitally or using a pen and paper. Pen and paper is really good, because that's what really connects you to your intuition. There's something critical about the actual physical exercise of longhand writing, and just see what shows up. When you're in the most distress and the most confusion, doing these 2 exercises together or individually will really help you to connect with your intuition and create a more authentic progress for yourself.
It sounds like a lot of this means that in order to trust your intuition, you have to give up control, which could be scary.
It is. It can be a little bit scary, but I can tell you from experience that the best thing in the world is when you stop trying to control what isn't working. The things that are going to work are going to show up for you in the most amazing ways. It really is an exercise in opening yourself to your own higher awareness, because this is just about connecting to it. Everybody knows. They just need to remember how to connect to it.
So when we apply this idea about trusting our intuition to the career journey that we're always on, no matter what stage we're at or what we're thinking of doing or where we are, how can women just now start to kind of sit and use their intuition to make choices about the next step in their career?
I think the biggest thing is to let go of the control and the expectations. This is not about what looks good on paper. This is not about what makes sense to anybody else but yourself. And these moments of journey, or the 5 big breaths, and asking that question in your inner self, and then taking those 5, 10, 15 minutes of writing or connecting or doing that little journey, that little travel, can really, really connect you to your next great phase, your next great adventure, your next great chapter, even when it doesn't look like it makes sense to anybody else. And that's the biggest thing, is making sure it doesn't look like anybody else's, because it's not. You're not anybody else. You are you.
Well, thank you so much, Francine, for having this conversation about really how we can learn, because we can learn how to use our intuition and trust it to make decisions that will really feel good and are all about us at the end of the day.
Absolutely.